So it's getting late, and I think maybe we should get started. We have a special treat for you this evening, a movie by Robert Redford, and I just want to introduce the movie by telling you a few little things about it. The movie is called Cathedrals of Culture, and it's part of a six-part series that was conceived of by the German director Wim Wenders. And Wenders' idea was, because he loves architecture, let's put together a series of short films about beautiful works of architecture. And so he recruited 6 accomplished directors. I can't name them all. Wim Wenders was one of them. And so he recruited 5 other people. And one of the people he recruited was Robert Redford. And each of the directors was then asked to choose a building and make a 30-minute short film about the building. And so Robert Redford chose the Salk Institute. He had grown up near here. Well, actually, you'll hear him introduce the movie after I introduce him. But so he had grown up near here, and he'll tell you about that in the brief video before the film. The other buildings, it's actually the only building in the series that's from North America. The other buildings include the National Library in St. Petersburg, the Pompidou Center, the prison, I forgot the name of the prison. Somebody showed a picture of it today. The prison in Norway, the Oslo Opera House, the Berlin Philharmonic Hall, and I think that's it. I might have forgotten one, but anyway, those are the buildings. And so Redford's building is unique because it's in North America, and it's of course unique because it was filmed at my home institution. And I happened to be, at the time he came out, I happened to be the chairman of the faculty and the president of ANFA, and so I was invited. The development people sort of herded him around, but I was invited to meet with him, and I talked to him about neuroscience and architecture. And of course, he was very interested about both of those. He actually asked me whether I thought his dogs were conscious, and of course and I said, of course they are, right? Of course they are. But in any case, he then asked me invited me to participate in the film, because what the unique thing about his film as opposed to the other 5 in the series is that he wanted to include the people in the building because we are so fundamentally a part of what the building is. And so there were 4 people, the 3 members of the faculty, including me, and a guy who was in the facilities, the physical plant department, who are in the film. And there's both, there's screen time and there's voiceover. And I was particularly honored to do this, but it involved a lot of, I'd never done a film before like this, and so I learned about, when you don't stop moving until they say cut, and so forth. and so they do multiple takes of everything, and these are images of me walking across the courtyard, climbing the stairs, and so you'll see it in the movie. But there was one scene where they did, it was in the north building, it's actually the 5th floor, the balcony level. There's a walkway, an exterior walkway up there, and I'm walking down the walkway from the east end to the west end, and I do this over and over again. And early on, in one of the early takes, some girl who works in Ron Evans' lab, which is right up there, pops out a door right in the middle of the filming and the take, and she's right in front of me, and she's completely freaked out because she doesn't know what's going on. So they immediately decide, well, we need to have her in the shot. And so they had her sign a bunch of, and she was enthusiastic, and they had her sign a bunch of release forms. And so we did it again, and so I'm walking down, and the plan was she would pop out and then walk past me as I'm going west, she's going east. And so we did that, and I walked down, and of course, I'm really tense about all this because I've never been in a movie, especially a Robert Redford movie, before. and so I'm walking down the balcony, and she pops out, and she walks past me, and I wave like this. And at the end of that take, Redford, we called him Bob at that point. So Redford calls me over, and he says, Tom, try not to look like such a cold-hearted bastard. Smile at her. And so that was my lesson from Bob. And so with that, we'll let the film roll. There is a brief introduction to the film. So this introduction was done by Bob when the film was first screened in California, so it was filmed here 3 years ago, and it was first screened here 2 years ago in this auditorium, and it was filmed in 3D. So it was remarkable. We were all sitting in the auditorium with 3D glasses. It's a little scary to see yourself on a big screen in 3D. It's like completely weird. But there's an introduction to the film by Robert Redford that was filmed at that time. So you'll see that brief introduction, and then you'll see the film. The film is, I think, about 24 minutes.